Wogepeef platform, we have a lot that we have been helping acquire the skills that are actually needed, the digital skills that are actually needed for this area. I was glad to so many women on monthly basis to join. I want to welcome our founder to, and this session is actually going to be a wrap up for this initiative coming next year for every woman on Wogepeef. All women around you, your friends, your sisters, your aunties, your colleagues at work, they are women. Come and join the new initiative Wogepeef is bringing from promising to be an amazing one for everyone on Wogepeef platform. So I want to use this medium to welcome our founder, person of Mojisola Olawepo, who has actually so many people, so also who have a lot to say about her, but she has been as in someone who is interested in growth of everyone, seeing everyone succeed, passionate about seeing everyone doing well, and seeing all of us at the top. So let's welcome our founder, Mojisola Olawepo. Welcome, back. And have the floor, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Esther. Sorry, please, can you hear me? Because it's like throughout the time you were speaking, you were like breaking. So I just want to be sure that everybody on the call can hear me. Please, can you hear me? If you can hear me, you can just react maybe by showing love
I can hear
or
you
doing like a
clearly.
thumbs up or something. Can you hear me? Can,
I can hear you.
loud and clear, right? Good, fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So good afternoon, everybody. Longly thanks, Jala, Bolanly thanks, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for being here today. Right. I'm not going to be turning on my camera because I actually lost track of the timing. So, but you're going to hear my voice, and with time, I will still come in and show my face. I want to thank everybody for being here today. What people has been on for a while now, and as you all know, we've been doing different kind of program. However, from we've been saying is that we want to do like a more like a renewal of the whole Wood People platform, right? And we're good. It's going to start from. We're supposed to start from January, but I mean, we decided that you know what? Why can't we just start now? So you'll be seeing a lot happening from next year. So and that's why Esther was saying that if you know any women around, any women at all, any woman, you can always invite them to the platform. We're going to be sharing the links to the platform. The plan for which people. Sorry, please. If you have any specific questions or concerns, I'll do my best to help you. Sorry for that. So we're going to be, we're going to be introducing a lot of tech courses. So this is just the first. So we have Power BI, Power Apps, Power Developer, No Code, Low Code School that will be coming up. Website development school, soft skills school, and switch to tech. This deck too will be shared on the group so that you all have an idea of what our plan is. And as time goes on, we're going to be adding a lot of things to our course outline or courses that we'll be offering from next year. The whole idea is that we are looking at how we can move more women into tech. We are not saying that other areas of work are not important, but we are saying that how can you become better leveraging technology? Businesses today, they want to optimize their operations. They want to do things in a more cost effective way, and also increase their revenues as much as possible. So they need people that will not just do the work, do the everyday routine work, but people that will come with much a mindset of innovation and a mindset of, I want to add more value and I want to re-engineer the work I do, right? So those are the people that in the future of work, which is now, will become more relevant and people will take them more serious. If you're doing a business today, you will agree with me that technology is important in helping you to solve most of your business problems, right? And again, even as we know already, as the economy is right now, you need to be able to align to yourself with a skill that can help you to, move out of that situation of complaining. Let me just, as it were, let me just explain like that. So I want to encourage you all, if you are here today, thanks for coming. Structured query language is a data, we're going to be taking that today by, he's going to talk about it. I don't want to go into it right now, but basically, if you're thinking around doing data analytics, BI, going into the field of advanced analytics and AI, you need to at least be able to speak to some databases. And for one of the language you need to use is structured query language, right? So if you're here, if you've passed through our everything on data training school for data analytics and business intelligence, I believe that what you're going to be learning here is going to be very useful. However, if you have never done that before, if you've never done analytics before, this is not a showstopper. The facilitator today is going to make everything easy for you. Introduction, learn it. Have a mindset that, you know what, I want to also do analytics, or maybe you watch out for some of the things that we'll be doing around analytics on the women platform. Women business. Esther, I don't know. I think our target is 100 or 500 women for next year, and we are going to go that far to be able to help women to upskill and become better for the future of work. I want to thank you all for taking our time out of no time to be here today. It's not easy to be a woman. It's not easy to have responsibilities, but you are here today because you want to change your story and you want to rewrite your story. And that's what matters the most. Thank you. And over to you, Esther.
Thank you very, very much, Ma, for your time. A lot from her. The little she has said, I'm sure she has been able to give us. Thank you. Okay, let's move on. So let's continue. So I'll just quickly share the slides of this. I'll just quickly share the slide of this F school for us about the initiative they are starting up. And our founder has really told us a little about it and about the Power Developer School, the low code school, and we have the website development school, the soft skills schools, and switch to tech school. So in anywhere you find yourself that is interesting to you, that you know, okay, you can actually do. It's free for everyone. As I said, it is free for everyone. Hello, please, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, all right. Sorry, please. I had to switch network. My network was going up and down. Sorry, apologies about that, please. So let me just quickly share the slide for the ethics school. So we would know the courses that are actually entailed in those courses for us to take. So that won't take much of our time. So when I'm done with that, then our facilitator can come on board to begin a session. 1 minute, please. All right. Can you see my screen now? Okay, we're introducing you to the EdTech school, Wogepeef EdTech school, and we've mentioned all the courses that actually entail that we'll be learning. So we have the Power Developer No Code Low Code School, whereby you'll be learning the Power Apps. We'll be learning Power Apps. We'll be learning Power Automates and Power Virtual Agents. So all these courses are actually under the Microsoft Power Platform. And we have the Power App, Power Automates, and Power Virtual Agents. So all these courses are what we have under the Power Microsoft Power Platform. And we'll be working on 2 projects also. During the course of taking the courses, we'll be giving you projects that you'll be working on, and we'll expect everyone to respond. And there's also benefits and distance from the program. So it's not just that I just come to sit down to learn and just go. No, there are certificates to all courses once you have completed them. So this is one of the courses we'll be taking also. And we have the website development school also, whereby you learn how to build websites, create portfolios, and monetize your ads. Some of these courses also taking them during our monthly training, but we are bringing them as an ed school for us to get ourselves certified for it. We're not just coming to train on a day, but it will be a series of training whereby you have projects to work on and you'll be able to showcase, create a portfolio for yourself that this is what I have done during the course of learning in the ed school, in the Wogepeef ed school project, ed tech rather. So we have the soft skills school also, whereby you'll be learning different communication and presentation skills with PowerPoint. You'll be learning analytical thinking skills also, an analysis on Microsoft Excel, portfolio design skills, and LinkedIn optimization. So these are soft skills. This one you don't need to learn the code or you don't need to learn in something serious. This is just soft skills that we can actually do with ourselves or on our own for us to make some cool money for ourselves. And the last one we have is the switch to tech school. That's acquire multiple tech skills on all our everything on data offerings, then become a specialist in one core tech skill. Commit to 6 months intensive training. So It's going to be training upon training. For those who are interested, we'll be sharing a form for you to know the course you'll be taking. And we're letting you know at when each course will be coming up. And the cost is free. It's free for all women, and it's an opportunity for us to join and acquire the skills that's necessary for today. So these are the initiatives we have, and as time goes on, we'll be sharing them on the community platform for everyone, so we can actually come together and learn together, also acquire the skills that is needed. For taking much of our time this afternoon, I would love to continue with today's session, which is a session on SQL. Please, can everyone just do an emoji for clapping or welcoming him in to for today's session, please? Let's do an emoji, clap your hands, do a love emoji, welcome him, welcome to Mitayo. Welcome Olutayo rather. You have the floor now. Welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope I'm audible.
I can't hear you clearly. You said what?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Wow. It's good to be here. And I want to thank everybody that is on the call. I want to thank the Wogepeef team for what they are doing, the founder, Mugishola, and then program coordinator and everyone involved. It's my pleasure to be here, and I think it's going to be an opportunity for us to learn. I want us to be open-minded and then to maximize this time that we have to add to our skills and to add to our knowledge. It's going to be more practical class, as I've told them. It's an opportunity for us to see what we can learn together. I know on this platform there will be different categories of people. Maybe people that have the understanding before now of what SQL is, or people that are just hearing it for the first time. So I just want everybody in this class, even if you have heard it before, pretend as if you have not heard it before, so that you can learn, and then everybody can learn together. The good thing is that it's a free training, but most times when something is free, people tend to not take it serious. But again, you may meet me in another place where I'm training. I'm going to offer this training, and you're going to pay. Maybe then you can listen better. But I'm just saying on the latter note that whether you're paying or you're not paying, it's an opportunity for you to learn. Just assume that the time that you're investing is not a waste, as much as possible. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me start by sharing the slide. To start with that. Okay, so you can see my screen, right? Hello. Okay, I assume that you can see my screen. So the topic today is unlocking your digital technology skills through SQL, right? SQL is just one of it's one of the oldest languages that are used these days to query your database, right? To get information from the database. It's something that people use a lot, to be able to say, oh, I want to get some information from record that you have stored somewhere. When you get records or when you have stored record in a particular location, those records are not meant to be there, but those records are meant to be worked on because somebody may want to get information or something useful or from that particular information, and that is why a query is needed. When you're saying a query, for example, you are going somewhere, you needed to ask somebody a question. that question is a query that you are sending to that person and say, oh, okay, I'm going to so place. What is the location, or how can I get to that particular location? And the person is going to give you a response, and that is what SQL is going to do for you most of the time. So let me share my slides so that we can get started with that. And then to start with, introduction to SQL, right? I know you will have heard about SQL before now, and then SQL is just an abbreviation or an acronym for Standard Query Language. But I don't know whether you have heard other people call it SQL. Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes,
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. So you'll have heard other people call it SQL. Yeah, we hear some people call it SQL, some people call it SQL. Now, if there's anything you want to take away from this class, is that people that call it SQL, they are right, and people that call it SQL, they are also right. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, SQL is standard, SQL is standard query language. But before that, they were calling it SQL because it was called standard English query language. And you will see it as time goes on that most of the statements that you are writing, they are English language. They are just like statements that you write. So that's why they call it that. So whether you call it SQL or you call it SQL, they are saying the same thing. But generally now it's called SQL. And okay, I think I've gone past that, and this is it. So I said, if you call it SQL, you are right, or if you call it SQL, you are right. So structured query language or structured English query language. And the next question we need to ask ourselves is that you want to learn SQL. Who should learn SQL? It's good for us to have that foundation to know, okay, this is what I want to learn. I might actually fit into the categories of people that need to learn this particular language that I want to learn. Yeah. If there's anything I want you to understand is that SQL is a valuable tool for both technical and non-technical professionals. Everybody can use it, whether you're technical or you're not technical. Who are technical professionals? You're talking about database engineer, database administrator, data engineer, data scientist, data analyst, web developer, full stack developer, cybersecurity specialist, what have you. All of them, they need these tools one way or the other. A developer need to query from database to get some information. A data analyst can have to also query some data together. Although there are some encapsulation that has been done generally these days, whereby people don't need to write this query. You just do drag and drop. You're able to link things together. You get many people do good dashboard, good designs these days that they don't have understanding of what SQL is, but it's going to give you an edge because you're able to, when those drag and drop doesn't work for you, then you can leverage on your knowledge that you have of how things work at the back end. And again, non-technical professionals, if you're a business analyst, it's good for you to know this because there are situations whereby you need to do some reporting and some other things. You want to get some insight into the data because when you have data of 1,000 records, it's easy to manage. But when you begin to have millions of records, then you need to have a way of getting those information out. And that's where understanding the language of SQL help you to manipulate records and get those things out. Marketers, these days things have gone beyond you just going out and advertising or marketing anyhow. You need to do all those things based on data. You want to spend so amount of money on marketing. You need to know your target audience. You need to know, okay, how does these people behave? The information that you have, how you're able to get those data that you have earlier on, how you're able to make insight from them is going to help you to be able to get a good result out of them. And the next thing is, if you are not part of all this category, the reality is that you are the last set of people I'm talking to. You that you are doubting whether you need it or not. Once there's a doubt in your mind that whether you need it or not, you actually need to learn this because it's going to be useful for you. I'm certain, one way or the other. So that's starting from there. Okay, so let me continue. And don't forget, this class is not going to be talk, but let's just do this talk. We'll get out of the talk. then we get our hands dirty. And I think this session is being recorded because we move a little bit fast. But if they upload the video online, you can go and watch it so that you can practice. Something I want you to understand about learning any code or learning anything, any technical things is about practicing. All right, you need to practice and practice and practice before you master it. Don't forget, maybe some things that I'm doing today, I've been doing it for more than 10 years, right? So I learned SQL a long time ago. So it may be, yeah, when I first learned it, it wasn't easy, you know, but when I begin to practice over time, then I get to understand how to use them. And then I think, so don't worry, if it's a lot, it may look like a lot at the beginning, but I'm certain that with time, you will get familiar with them. So what can SQL do? The first thing is that SQL can execute queries against a database. I know some don't understand what a database is, or you have been hearing it, but you don't know. We will see a database today, right? We will see what they call a database today, and then you will see how it is. SQL can execute queries against a database. SQL can retrieve data from a database. You can, when a data that has been stored in database, you can retrieve from it. That's what an SQL can do for you. SQL can insert record in a database. SQL can update record in a database. SQL can delete record from a database. SQL can create a new databases. SQL can create new tables in a database. SQL can store procedures in a database. SQL can create views in a database. SQL can set permissions on tables. See, there are a lot of things you can do. And that is when you go to any platform or you use your application, you do a transaction, you know, you send money to somebody. What is updating the record behind for you is actually an SQL. I don't know whether any one of you log into your bank application or any application, and then the next thing is that he's saying, welcome, Olutayo. He's putting your name, right? Your record has been stored somewhere. It has been stored in a database. Because you are logging in, SQL is connected to the database to fetch your information out, and then it's going to show you. You know, I remember a long time ago, not now, you know, when some banks in Nigeria, when they started, you know, it's interesting when you go to the ATM and you put in your card, and the next thing is saying, welcome, so thing, you know, so Tayo, is saying, welcome Tayo, you know. The first time I saw it a long time ago, not now, so don't think, oh, I'm from village, but almost everybody started sometimes back that I saw it, welcome Olutayo, you know. I felt, wow, so this bank knows me, and they, you know, by just putting in my card. And that is just because somebody has written a query behind that is fetching that record for them. So that's exactly what SQL does and much more. So if there's anything that you are taking away from here, is that SQL can be used to query, can be used to retrieve data, can be used to create database, can be used to update, and you can create tables in those database. Okay, so let me pause here. I don't know whether you have any question thus far, or should I continue? I want to be sure that you're all following me. I don't know whether you have any question at this point, or I should continue. Jolasun. I can see Jolasun raising his hand. Okay. Does it mean I should continue? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so now the next thing I'll be talking about is terminologies to know. You know, if you have heard me before now, I was talking about database, right? I've mentioned tables, but it's good for us to also see it. Database. What's a database? Database is an organized collection of structured information or data. So records have been organized and have been stored in a database, and that's what a database is, right? Now, database can just be created as empty. The next thing is, in the database, you have what is called tables. So database consists one or more tables. So table is just a structured collection of data organized into rows and columns. That is what you have, and that is what most times your SQL is going to be relating with. And now when you are talking about tables, A table is a combination of rows. Rows are the horizontal one, and the columns are the vertical. So that's what you need to understand. So that means for you to get an information about an entity, you actually need to fetch a row. A column is more of an attribute of an entity. So it's important for you to understand that one of my attributes is that I'm a male, right? So that information, if you want to get it from me, you will get it from a column. But if you want to get the general information about me, telling you about my name, where I came from, what I do, that means you need to get all the information about me on a row. So that is what the type of SQL query that you need to write. Okay, so note, in this training session, we'll be making use of hospitals database, right? So there are a lot of databases that we're talking about. You know, for example, you're in a school, there's a database for a school that's going to show something like the department in the school, maybe the faculty, the lecturers, the courses that are being studied, the admission. So those are the kind of information you'll be seeing there. But today we'll be talking about a database of an hospital. And I know some of us don't like going to hospital, right? So that's why I say don't panic, because the table names may not be friendly. You'll be hearing something like doctors, you'll be hearing something like patients, you'll be hearing something like admission. But again, what I want you to understand is that when you're talking about databases, the information in these databases, they are interrelated, right? These tables are joined together so that you can make sense of them. And that is why for you to make sense and to do reporting, the first thing you need to do is understanding your database. And things are better now. There is a practical platform that we're going to use. And after this class, you can go to this platform and continue to practice. And the good thing about this platform is that you don't need to register. You just need to have an internet, open the URL, wow, you start practicing. So that is the most important thing. And if so, it is now left to you how much you can practice. But when we come together for these sessions like this, I'm just going to open you up to understanding the steps and do a little bit of practical for you. Then you can continue to learn as much as you want, right? So are we ready for practicals, please? Are we ready to start practicing? Are we ready? Let me see your reaction, please. Are we ready? Are we ready? Okay, okay. But thus far, do you get some of the information I've been passing
Thumbs up
across?
if you are ready.
Okay, thumbs up if you are ready, please. Okay, yeah, because I'm not seeing our faces, I don't know your reaction. I don't know whether I'm just talking. So, but again, I just want to be sure that I'm talking to people that are hearing what I'm saying, and people are getting up to say, I want to practice. Because it is not just about hearing. Information is out there. You can even Google most of the things I'm saying, but it is not enough. It's just you being able to say, oh, to some extent, I can be able to, I'm getting what he's saying, and we can get started. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to go to first, I'm going to go to, from your own system or anywhere you are, you can go to this link. I'm going to drop it on the chat. It's called sql-practice.com. So I'm going to show us around. Try and see if you can open that link. If you are using your phone, don't worry. If you are using your phone or anything, you can access that later. Yeah, you can access that later as much as possible. You can access that later. So, but
Does it mean we can access
whatever.
on our phone also, or is it just
Yes, you can access it on your phone.
the laptop?
You can access, you
Or
can
you are
access it on your phone. You can access it on your phone. You can access it on your phone. You can just open the link, access it on your phone. You can even practice on your phone. You can actually practice on your phone. You will see it. You can practice on your phone. You can just show a thumbs up on the chat if you have been able to access it. If you have been able to access it, you can show a thumbs up on the chat. You can show a thumbs up on the chat. If you have been able to access the URL, please show a thumbs up on the chat. Okay, I can see a few people. Okay, that's fine. So the good thing is that some people have been able to do that. Some people have been able to do that. So let me show you around. Let me show you around so that we'll now go back to the slide. Then we'll practice some things. Now, this is just the platform. And I mentioned to you that there is a database. Now, when you go to this, you click on this side, you see databases. You see database. When you click here, you see database. Then you see the database that we are dealing with is actually called hospital database. There are two databases on this platform. There's also Northwind. But the one we'll be working on is called hospital database. That's hospital.db. Right? And then we can see that it has 4 tables. It has 4 tables. And there's what is called a schema, which is talking about the relationship between those tables that we have. Now, in the database, there must be a relationship. There should be a relationship between admission and patient, how patients are being admitted, right? Because in an hospital, before you can be a patient, they must have admitted you. Then your record must have been stored somewhere. So in this scenario, that means the record will be stored in an admission table. And also, because a patient must come from somewhere, so they said a patient must be maybe from a province, right? Then for all admission, that means anybody that's admitted is also assigned a doctor. So if you look at here, that's where you can see all this relationship. That means a patient is relating to admission table based on a column called patient ID. And the patient from a province is also related to a province name, the province ID, and doctor is relating with doctor ID as attending doctor ID. Now, why is this necessary? You may be wondering, why do they have to do this? Why do they have to separate tables into, why do they have to separate this information into 4 tables? I know if you are the one that want to store the information, maybe you just store everything in one table, but it's going to be long and it's going to be cumbersome to manage, which means that there'll be a lot of repetitions. For example, if you just want to store it in an Excel, that means you will have something like the patient name in the table, you have the first name, you have the doctor. So that means you will notice that you are repeating doctor name a lot of time. That means you will notice that you are returning or you are storing the provinces a lot of time. That is not an efficient way to store records, right? I'm not going to talk about that here, but the reason behind this in more advanced level is called normalization. What they have done is to normalize, right? And they build relationship. There are different ways to build relationship. Relationship can be one-to-one, it can be one-to-many, right? But I'm not taking you that far. I just want you to understand the concept behind that. So, having done this, now the next thing is let's begin to play around this. Now, the first thing is, let me just run this. This is just a query, right? You can also run it from your hand. Select all, select asterisk. So when you see asterisk in SQL, what they are saying is all. That is what somebody will say. Well, maybe for the case of this class, we can start by say select asterisk from patient. That means I want to get all the record that is stored in the table called patient. Now, don't forget, something that you need to know in SQL statement is that SQL, most of what you write, they're actually statements. And in a statement, you have what is called keywords. They are called what? Keywords. Why are they keywords? Keywords because they are reserved for a purpose in an SQL statement. This select is a keyword. From here is a keyword, right? So let's run this. And don't forget, see, you can select, run selection. I want to run this particular query that I've selected. I've run it. I've run it, right? So you can see it's giving me an output. So that means this table that we are dealing with today, this table that we are dealing with today has about this table has, when you look here below here, this table has 4,530 results. So that means that's that much of records. And don't forget, you can see here we have rows. We have rows. You can see we have rows, and then we have columns. And don't forget, if you remember, I told you that rows will give you information, a full information about an entity, whereby the columns is an attribute of an entity. So Donald is the first name of the patient, ID1. Last name is water feed. Gender is this, right? So this is what select all can give you. Now, somebody will wonder, why am I? What is so important about this? When you want to get a record like this, the next thing is that you need to now begin to make sense from this database. And what is the sense that you can make? And that's when you talk about data analysts, you talk about data scientists, or everybody. What they want to do is that they want to get information. Now, the management of this hospital is saying that we want to know how many of our patients are male. That's a query that they want to. So somebody just call you and say, Tayo, I want you to give me a report of patients that are male, because there is a conversation or argument that this hospital, they have more patients that are male than female. You know, you have to be counting them one by one. Yeah, there are not many, maybe 4,500 or something, but it's still going to take a long time before you do that. And that's why an SQL come into place. Then you can now begin to look and send query to your SQL and say, I want to get where. Now, where is also another keyword. Where, so you can see it's more of English like where gender. How will I get whether they are male or female? Yeah, there's a column that stores whether they are male or female, and that column is what? Is gender column. So I will now say where gender equals. Now, because there's something that is called data type, yeah, so it's a string. So I have to quote it and say is M, right? So this information is going to give me, when I run it again, don't forget the former record is 4,530. By the time I run this again, it's giving me another record. And this record is what? It's now 2,000, that's 2,468. So let me put this here. 2,468, right? Let me run this again. And let me see what the output will be. This output here is 4,530, right? So you can see, if somebody is arguing who is more, well, my mathematics may be wrong or it may be right, but the reality from what I'm seeing here is that we have more males. I thought they said males don't really care about themselves. I wonder why we have more males in this hospital than female. But it's just you being able to query. It's not just assuming. Somebody can assume, and that is what data analyst, data scientist, data engineer, everybody is going to give you the right information. And SQL is that tool that you can also use to do that. Now, you may say, I'm not a developer. Yes, but there may be a situation. I know some people on this platform, maybe they have worked in some other organization. Maybe you have worked in maybe banks, telcos, and all those things. You are a cybersecurity person. You want to get some information. You can write your queries to be able to get those information out. So as much as possible. So that is what the SQL. This is just a snippet of what you are going to learn as time goes on. All right. So at this point, let me know whether people are following me. Have you been able to access that, and have you been able to write some queries? Do you have output from your hand too? If you have done that, please let me see it by showing of your hands, please. Are you still hearing me? Can you hear me? if you have been able to write any query on this platform, let me see your hand, please. Let me see your hand. I've been able to access it. I've been able to. Let me see. Are you following the class? Esther, is it possible for anybody to unmute themselves so that I can just get feedback, so that it won't be as if I'm just talking to myself?
Yes, sir, we are following.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm following. I've been able to access it.
Okay, are you able to write
I
some
had a
queries?
syntax error.
Yeah, you face a lot of syntax error because there are rules. Okay, hold on, please. Because there are rules that are there. If you didn't, like, for example, you need to ensure that you have your query correct, which means the information you are passing. For example, let me show you why you can have a syntax error. If I say, look at this now, I'm supposed to type patients. I didn't type the table name correctly, and I run this. You can use what's telling me. No such table. Do you understand? There's no such table, so that can happen. Or maybe I introduce something like this, and I run it. You can see syntax error. I think I'm getting the feedback. You can mute yourself. Is everybody muted?
Yes, sir.
So, please, if you are not talking, just mute yourself, because this is being recorded, and then it won't be. Okay, so that's fine. Now, so you could see why that happened. Unfortunately, I may not know. Can you share the query? You can share on the chat the query you tried to run that gave you that error. Oh, okay. So Lekan is telling us that the gender is 262. Okay, that's correct. Sorry, the person that complained, can you share the query that you ran that gave you the syntax error, if you can troubleshoot it together? But let's move on. Let's move on. Okay, so I've talked about the terminologies. Now let's go ahead again and say, let's talk about SQL syntax. So remember, she said she has a syntax error. Now there's a syntax, there's a syntax, there's a format. Syntax is just the format where those statements are written. So you need to follow those rules. If you don't follow the rule, there's nothing you can do. There's a rule that you need to follow. So for SQL, you have what you call SQL statements. What you have written is called SQL statements. I said most of the actions you need to perform on database are done with SQL statements. You could see examples: select all from patients table. That's a statement. A statement is a combination of keywords, right? And that's where you see something like select. And I said SQL statement consists of keywords that are easy to understand. When somebody says select, at least it's a normal English that people can easily understand. And the next thing is SQL keywords are not case sensitive. Select small cap is the same as select. Don't forget, let's go back so that we understand what I'm saying. When I run this again and say select, oh yeah, this platform is converting it for me, just for clarity. Also, I think for the formatting, I wish it can allow me to write it in a small letter, but it's converting it for me. But I'm just saying that there are some other IDE, as in some other environment or some other tools that you are writing and it's small letter, it will work for you whether it's small letter or it's capital letter. Do you understand? I'm talking about the keywords, don't forget, because I don't want you to mix it up. If I come here again and I put this as M and I run it, can you see? Can you see? Don't mix it up. What I said that is not case sensitive is not the value that is stored in the database or in the tables, but I'm talking about the keywords. I'm talking about the keywords. I'm talking about the keywords. I've said it 3 times so that you can remember. Now, if you can give a wrong information to your management and say, oh, I've checked the database, there are no male patients. But truly, there are male patients. The reality is because you didn't pass the right parameter. So don't say, oh, I've learned how to write. I've learned how to write SQL. Then you are giving the wrong information. You know, management can make wrong decisions by you providing them with the wrong information. So, but by just putting, so I'm saying this so that you don't take that and run with it and say, oh, Tayo, when he was teaching us in that class, he said SQL is not state sensitive. I did not say that. What I said, thank God, is being recorded. What I said is that the keywords are not case sensitive. Thank you. So, which means if I change this one to M, capital letter, and I run it again, I'm going to get the output I'm looking for. If you are not taking anything from this class, you can add to this to what you are taking from the class. SQL keywords are not case sensitive, but values are case sensitive. So that's very important. Okay, so let's move on. Now, and I said semicolon is the standard way to separate each SQL statement in database system. They allow more than one SQL statements to be executed in the same call to the server. Although some database engine will not require you to specify it explicitly. Let me explain this in a simple term. Now, when you write a statement, or you have multiple statements, let's see whether this will allow us. Let me see again. Select all from patients where province underscore ID equals ON. Okay. So I want to run this. Yeah. Why am I getting this error? Now you can see that I'm getting this error here. Let me try and close it and let's see whether it will give us something. Can you see? Now, I told you about semicolon. The reason why I got that error is because I have multiple statements on my tab, but I didn't close it. So the database is confused because these are 2 different statements, but I'm running them together. Now, let's see, maybe you didn't see what I'm talking about. Can you see? The reason why I got the error is because this statement is supposed to have ended, but there's nothing that is showing it has ended. So that means, don't forget, semicolon is used to end a statement. Let me show you another thing. Here now, here, let me remove this one. Now, see this double dash, you can see the color is different. Is that what I've done is I've commented this one out, actually. But I've commented it. By the time I put it, you see the color has changed. Now, if I run this, I'm going to get syntax error. You can see, because it's not, SQL doesn't recognize these values. So let me remove them. I was just using that to show us. Now, if I run this now, you will note that I'm not going to get anything out. Why? Because what I said is that I've closed this statement here. This one is not part of what I'm writing. So if I want to run anything, this is the only thing I can run. So don't forget, the semicolon is what you use to end a statement. And before we go, please don't quote me. And that's why I put it there in my statement. And I said, semicolon is the standard way to separate each SQL statement in database system that allow more than one SQL statement to be executed in the same call to the server. Although that caveat is there, although some database engines will not require you to specify it explicitly. I want you to remember that. Now, there are different database engines. So let me just mention it for the case of for the sake of this class. There's Oracle database, there is Sybase, there is MySQL. Now there's MySQL. MySQL, I know some of you will have heard it before. MySQL is a database engine. MySQL is not structured query language. MySQL just added SQL as part of their name. Do you understand? So it's just an example of a database. Now, on this database, you can run SQL statement on them. So for SQL Server, that one is owned by Microsoft. The SQL Server, when you use their own, when you run without semicolon, it will take it. But in Oracle, in MySQL, when you run without semicolon, it will give you a syntax error. As in when you run multiple, I'm saying this because they are very important. Because at the time you are practicing, these are the things you will face. And it can be frustrating when you cannot be able to move on to the next thing that you want to practice just because you are getting the syntax error. And that is why if you have developer as a friend or database engineer, anybody as a friend, syntax error, unknown error, they can keep you there for days. In fact, maybe when you are tired, what you are used to, when you do a mistake, you are just battling with it. I know some people on this call, they will have faced it before, but if you have not faced it before, you may think, but it may just, you are just looking at it. Instead of you, maybe that select, you didn't put C, it just says SELET. You can be battling with it because maybe you're already tired and then you're battling with it for the whole day and you're wondering what is not working, just you. But by the time you master it, you're able to troubleshoot. I'm just saying this for you to understand that when you are practicing, you will face challenges. That is not enough for you to stop. Every one of us, we have faced those challenges before. So what you need to do is not to run away from your challenges, but it is for you to face those challenges, which is important. So can we move ahead? You can unmute yourself. Hope we are enjoying the class. If you have questions, let's ask at this point before we proceed. If you have questions, let's ask. And if I'm not moving at the speed you want me to move, apologies. I just want everybody to be able to pick one or two things.
I guess someone has a question.
Okay, you can ask your question. Hello.
Okay.
Someone has a question. Longi, can you unmute yourself? Just ask your question.
All right. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, sir. The data that your database, how did you type all those information into the database, or how were you able to get all those data in the SQL database?
Okay. Now, the first thing I want you to know is that this database is not my own. It's a platform that is free for everybody to use. Now, this record that you see in the database is stored by people, right? So if you want to store record into a database, is for example, you have been able to, you can collect a database. Maybe for example, the way let me give you an example. You go to an hospital, you register. They have an application, right? So the application is from the application interface where the patients are registering, the records are being stored into this database, right? So for me, maybe I'm creating a database and I have, maybe you can give me those information for test purpose. You can export it out from the application for me and say, let me create a table, then import it into this table. So it's complex, right? But that's a way. By the time, maybe in the subsequent part of the training, we can also insert into this table, we can add to this record, by writing a statement to insert into it. So there is a statement that has been written when you're on a website or on any application. For example, you have a bank, you want to register on the banking application. They're asking you some questions. You say sign up, You know, you put your username, you put your location, everything. Immediately you click submit, your record is going into a database. And this is an example. So this is how the record gets into the database. But what you are seeing here is just a sample record that has been exported from somewhere, you know, with some scrambled data that we can use for the practice. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir, it does. From
Okay.
what I understand, later on, when we get to the advanced stage, you teach us how to either import or export data into the SQL database, right?
Yes, yes, and how you can also delete from the record that you have in the database. But don't forget that won't be
Okay.
today. You know, I don't want to be too tired. You know, but we'll go at some pace. But and the good thing is that you can go back to this platform even when we are not in this class for you to start learning, right? To continue to learn, right? You can also go to the internet to pick some other information. See, things are better now. Those days when we were learning, there are no platform like this where you can just go to and then you are practicing. And there was not even internet, good internet to that extent that you can also go to website to do that. But there are a lot of information that are available. But the next thing is your determination to actually learn those things. All right. So let's move on. Okay, so and this is an example of an SQL statement, right? Good. So some important SQL command. Quick one. You have a select statement, which is going to take like almost 60 to 70% of everything we are going to be doing. You know, is to extract. Most time what you are doing is you are extracting information from the database. You are getting information from database based on the request or the questions that you are being asked, right? Then you can update a record. Maybe somebody, don't let me say, I want to say maybe somebody has changed from male to female. But we are not talking about that in this class. I'm just saying that maybe somebody has changed from one province to the other, right? You need to update their information. Or somebody, when they were admitted about 3 years ago, they were single. Their last name has now changed. You need to update those records. So you need to write. Or somebody has said, no, I don't want my record with your hospital again. You want to delete that record. New people are coming. You want to insert into it. Oh, we need another database for aged or aged, I think it's anyone, aged patients. Then you create another database for them. Oh, somebody say, I don't want this database name to be called, I want to alter this database, you know. Well, I want to create another table. I know the tables we have now, maybe about 4 of them. I want to add another table that is, let's say, outstanding. We can't have outstanding patient, or we can say, how do they put it? Outpatient. You can outpatient database, you know, or you can have all those information. Then you can decide to say, I don't want this table again. You can drop it. You can alter a table and say, I need a column that also shows the state. You know, this country is talking about province. Maybe another place there's a state, or you want to have a county or a council, you want to add it to it. So you can get those kind of information. And somebody is saying, oh, getting information from this application is very slow. My balances are not loading. I'm not getting this information, you know. I need to create an index to make it faster. Oh, when I'm inserting to this thing, it's taking time. I think there's a bottleneck. I need to eliminate some bottleneck. So these are the things you need to understand. Good. Are we good? So let's move. Let's move. So now the first thing we talk about is the select statement. Now I said the select statement is used to select data from a database. You can do some things with select statement. You can select all columns, and that's where you see when you say asterisk. What you are saying is that you are selecting all the columns from a table. You can do select specific columns, and that is when you are doing what? Select column name, that is column 1, column 2, as many columns that you want from a table. An example, you can see the 2 examples that are here. Select all from a table. If there's anything you are learning today, is that asterisk is all from a table, or you select a particular column from a table. So those are the things you can do with this. And then let's practice quickly. Let's practice quickly. I know we'll soon be ending the class, but let's practice quickly. Okay, so the question is, we just want to get information about, you know, we've known that if we want to select everything from a database, we are going to say select from patients. Now, because this is a single line, you'll be asking me, this is a single line, right? I didn't put semicolon because it's a single. Because it's a single line. Please, if you want to speak, you can. If you are not talking to us in the class, you can mute yourself. You can mute yourself. Online class, Zoom. You can, or help me to mute people that are not, so that we will.
Okay.
Jolasun. Okay, that's fine. Monica, your hand is up. Hello, Monica. Or if you have questions, you can drop it on the chat. I'm going to move on. Okay. Can you help me to mute Jolasun? Jolasun should be muted if he's not talking to us. Esther. Okay.
I've muted him already.
Okay. So now let's go back. So now don't forget the one we are talking about.
Mr. Tayo, please, I have a question. I've been raising my hand.
Please go ahead.
He has called you.
Okay. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Okay, we can hear you now.
Hello?
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. So yeah, before we move, to writing statements on database, I want to fully understand how this database work. Yeah. So let's say, for instance, I'm using spreadsheets to enter my client's information, right? So over time, I now realize that my clients keep increasing and I want to, move to a database. So before, writing statements and all, how do one create a database?
Okay, that's fine. Now, creating a database is not that simple, right? But the good thing is that I don't know whether, there is, if you are using Excel, there is also access database that comes. There's an access database that comes with Microsoft Office Suite, whereby you can store your information in a database. That you can store your information in the database, right? So those records that you have in your Excel, you can actually import it. Although this is not going to be part of this class, you have to watch a video that will show you how to import those records in your Excel sheet into a database. So you have to import the record from your Excel sheet into a database. And most of these database tools that we have actually does that. But I think the best thing also is that when you have such kind of small application that you can manage on Excel sheet, it's better to manage on Excel sheet. But most of the record that you see in the database, they are mostly from an enterprise application that has a lot of records. We are talking about billions of records, millions of records, right, that are already stored. For example, like a bank, that has transaction of customers, like a telco companies that has over 100 million subscribers. Do you understand? By the time you are calling the customer care, you want to get an information, they are pulling out your information and they are talking to you as if they've known you since the time you were born. Do you understand? So they have a lot of records with you, about you already, that they are trying to query. Do you understand? So database, most times you need some level of expertise to create a database. So that means somebody that understands, they can develop an application for you, develop a database, the record is being stored, somebody is registering or somebody is putting the information from an application end. It's not in the database. What is just giving you information, but that information is flowing into a database, and that database is now complex. And because it's complex, somebody needs to come and begin to write query to deal with that database. Do you understand that now, Monica?
Yeah, I do. I get it.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay, that's fine.
yes. Thank
So if you have answered your question, you can lower your hand so that we know. Yeah, so if you have other questions, you can also, not you alone, anybody, you can drop it on the chat so that we can move on. I know maybe next 20 or so minutes, we may have to end the class so that we can get to do other things, right? Then Esther can tell us how we move from here because there's a lot for us to learn. And the good thing is that we are not ending when we end the class, you can continue to practice. You have a platform to practice. It is now left to you to actually practice because I can only guide you, or you can know by you practicing. So the good thing about this class is that you now have what you need to practice. You're not even registering on that platform that you're practicing on, or you're acquiring knowledge. So it's not left to you how much you can learn, how much information you can be able to glean from that place. So let's go back. So I now said, now this will show us all the information, but seriously, there's a lot of columns that we don't need. We can see about, oh, okay. I've left. Let me go back. SQL practice. Okay, sorry. So now when I go back to this place, and say select asterisk from patients, right? From patients. Then when I run this, so I'm able to get my information out, but I don't need as much of this. Maybe what I just need is I just need the first name and the last name and the agenda. So what I would do is to say select, then I'll pick the column first. It has to be correct. If it's not correct, then I'll get an error. Then don't forget from, then my table name, patient. So you're going to separate columns by comma. When I run this selected, it's going to give me only this information. Can you see? I'm getting the information, but I want to also add gender. I cannot add gender, right? So I'm able to get my gender. I'm able to get, and don't forget, even the column names, they are not case sensitive. I'm saying the column names. I'm not talking about the records. You can see that I put gender capital letter, but this one is what? A small letter. So I cannot begin to get more other information. So you can select columns and you can select what? You can select everything. But what if you have about 100 columns? It's going to be a lot, that you are selecting out. You don't need that much information. So you can be able to start pruning or reducing the information that you are selecting from your database as much as possible. So let's move again. Let's move again. And then the next thing we'll be talking about is that I assume that we got that. So, but we can still so the next thing is you can select distinct statement. You can select distinct statement from database. You can select what? Distinct statement. This is normal English. I'm saying that I want to see the distinct district or distinct provinces that we have. Now, the reality is that yes, when you look at here, and this is you put the distinct there, distinct. You want to see the distinct city, right? You want to see, because I told you that there are some information that are repetitive or that are repeated or that they are redundant. Now, but I want to see specific. I want to see distinct record. Then this is very important because you'll be able to need this to make some decisions. So when I come here, don't forget, and I say I want to do when I run this. When I run this part, it's going to give me 4,530 records. But I can see that I'm seeing ON repetitive or repeated. Okay. I'm seeing Amity, Pickering, Delhi. I'm seeing different cities. But I want to know in this database, how many cities are my patient actually coming from? Do you understand? So that's when I will come here and I will say distinct, right? Then I'll put the column and say distinct city. Then I'm going to run it, right? So I can now see my distinct Yeah, so you can see that this record is not as much. So, okay, we are not there yet. We are not there, but let me add this. I want to know the number of distinct cities that we actually have. Don't worry. I'm jumping ahead of myself. But you can see now, out of, we have 4,000 something total record, but we actually have 93 cities. The patients in this database, they're actually from 93 cities. So you are getting more information. Instead of you now have to use your hand to be counting or use as you are doing. No, with this statement, you're able to get those information together. Don't forget, if you have not heard it before, what I've done here is that I wrote what is called a nested statement. A nested, they are inside each other. There is this part already nested again, but don't worry, we'll get there maybe in our subsequent classes. But I just use that to check this. Okay, so distinct patient from this, if you are using BI before, there is a way you can do that, drag and drop. But this is whatever application you are using is doing. This is what is being done at the back end. Okay, so I haven't said this, so you can do distinct city, you can be able to get those information, so you can get different things. Not only city, let's see whether there is any other thing. Okay, let's see. Let's see whether this database is database of new generation or old generation. Let's see. Gender now. There are plenty gender, but let's see what is here now. Maybe it's the real one that we used to know. Okay, so we have two. We have the male and the female. So you can see different kind of information. Then you can use this to make other decisions that you want to make. So that is why we are talking about distinct. I think this is clear enough, so you can follow this. And so the next thing we'll talk about is where clause. Now, the where clause is a clause, where is a clause. It's used to filter records. Now you need to filter record. I don't need everybody. I don't need all the record in this database. What I just need some information. So where clause allows you to add a condition. And that's what I've been doing before now, adding a condition and say, I want to see where gender equals M, where province equals this, where last name equals that. Do you understand? So that is what we are trying to do from that perspective. And that is what the where clause does for us. You can play around it as much as you can. So let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of where clause. You are going to use it a lot. A lot. I know some people that know that where can save somebody's life. Don't worry, by the time you start using it, you know why that where is very important. That where is very important. That where is very important. Let me say it for the last time. That where is very important. So you need to understand how that thing is, because you can shut down an organization if you don't put a where in your statement when you need to carry out some activities. But people that know, they know. As people that have experienced the importance of that where, even they will be worshiping that way. So it's important for you to know that that way is key. So you need to be able to limit your records, right? And you can use your way to play around that. So let's say I want to see people that are from province Ohen. I will say where province, that's the condition now. Province ID equals ON. Don't forget, it's case sensitive. If I run this, don't give wrong information, wrong report. He said no records to display because I didn't put the right format. So I'm going to put, why is my ON not coming up as capital? Okay. So now it's going to give me people that are from ON, right? So we have, is everybody from ON? Oh, so it's only few people that are not from ON. I can imagine. So many people are from ON, right? So, okay, let's say I want to say, oh, don't let me go too far. Or you want to see, yeah, or you want to see a particular name and say name is first name, or you can say where you can pick any column to filter where first name equals Donald. Let's see whether there's only one Donald. Don't forget that this is case sensitive, So you have to write it the way it is there. But when we begin to learn ahead, the next time we meet, you will see there's a way you can ensure, because it doesn't make sense if you have to write this thing specifically the way it is. What of if when the person, there's a lot of them do that, about 1, 2, some of them, right? Now, what I'm saying is this: it doesn't make sense. Maybe the person is just maybe made a mistake and they type something like this, but it's donut that you actually want to get, but you will not be able to get it. Does it make sense? I don't think this makes sense. Does it mean that there are no donuts in this database? There are, but the problem is that the case, the record you have put, the cap or the letter that you have put, or the case of the whatever you have typed, is not the same as it is stored. But there's a way SQL handle this, and that's why we begin to learn about functions so that we can be able to get the right information. Don't forget, it's better not to give information than to give a wrong information. No information is better than wrong information. So if there's anything you can take away from this class, no information is better than wrong information. Don't give wrong information. So there are donors. So you need to know that the format is also very important. So let's move again. Let's take another step. So we have talked about where clause. We're going to use where clause a lot. We're going to use it a lot. So just be sure. Now, I remember, whether we like it or not, everybody in this class, one way or the other, you have done mathematics before. So your mathematics, because some people ran away because they said, I don't like mathematics, I will not go to science class. Now you are here again, you will still see mathematics. So now we have some operators, that can be used with where clause. You can use equal sign, and that's what I've used before. You can use greater than or less than. You can use greater than or equals to. You can use not equal to. You can use between. You can use like. You can use in, right? So you can add these things to your statement, and that's what we are going to be doing here. Now, because you need more than one information, so you are saying, I don't want only donut. I don't want only donut. I want another name also. But I want it to be on a single statement. I want GG2. So what you will do is that instead of you putting equals to can only map to one record, Equal to can map to one record. But you want to check for GG or donut and donut. So what you can do is to add it and say where in this operator. Then you close this. And don't forget, in can be used for one or more records. So you can decide to use this and run it, and you're going to get the same result. But don't forget, our plan or our intention is to get more. So we can now say, use a comma to separate it and say, okay, GG2, GG. Okay. And then you are running it. You're going to run it. Can you see now? You're able to get more information. GG is not part of the information because of the what? The operator we have used. Do you understand? Now, that is for in. Then you can also, let's see another, you can also say, I want to use something like, I want to see the age of these people. I want to see people that are born after so time. Yes, people that are born after so time. So you go back to your database and you say, okay, I want to see, let's say, select all from patients. I hope we also, okay, maybe after you can maybe have to watch and practice as much as possible. Where birth underscore date is less than, no, let me say greater than. Let me see people that are born after 2000. I would say based on the format, don't forget date format is, you have to quote it and say 2020 is greater than or equals to, is greater than, or that would be 2019. 2000, sorry. So it will be greater than 1999, 1999, 1231. I want to see people that are born after 2000. sorry, that are born 2000 and upward. You can see out of this record that we have, it's making sense now. I want to see people that are born after 1999 or people that are born from 2000 upwards. You can see. So it's giving you the information. It's giving you the information, you know. And then now I have this information. There are 1000 people. Okay. So out of these people, and don't forget, when somebody is asking you to do something, they're not going to be telling you, I'll select from this. They're going to speak to you maybe in English or whatever language and say, I need the record of people that are born so time. I need males that are born after 2000 that have been admitted in this hospital. That's what they are going to tell you. So it's left to you as an experienced person in SQL to now put that word, you know, to put the word into a statement so that I can get that report out. So that is what you need to understand. And so that's it. And don't forget something like less than or equals to. When you say something is less than or equals to, that means it's less than that and it's inclusive of that value, right? Then you can also do range. You know, you can say between so and between so time, right? So let's see how that between can be used. And you say select all from patients where birth date between let's say between this and let's say 2020. When you run it again, don't forget the former output was 1000 something. Let's see the output this is going to give us. Oh, okay. So it seems most of them are even within that period. What's happening? Oh, 2020. Oh, let me see 2005. Or let me see 2002. You can see 169. So the record has changed. So you can use that because there are different questions they can ask you and say, oh, give me a record of people that are born between so time and so time. I need people that are born between 2001 and 2002. So between here is also a reserved word, a keyword that you can use in your query. So that's important for you to know. Let's move again. So also now there's what they call another keyword called order by keyword. Now you need to order. The order by keyword is used to sort the result set in ascending or descending order. I think once you are done with this, I'm going to stop the class for today. Once we are done with this particular order by, so that I know there's a lot we have learned. Don't worry, by the time you start practicing, you will know there's a lot that we have learned so that we can be able to capture that. Now select SQL order by keyword is to order either descending order or ascending order, right? And you can see you can select column order by default without putting ascending order ASC, without putting ASC or DEC descending, is going to your record will be in ascending order. And the output is order in ascending order by default. That's what I've said. You can order by a particular column or you can order by multiple columns. So which means that you have come here and say select all from patients. When you do that, when you look at it, you will see whether it's ordered or not. Now, when you look at this, it's not ordered because you didn't put it. You can see Donald. Donald should not be number one. But the only way it's ordered, this patient is ordered. You can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? This one is ordered by default because that's the primary key. Don't worry, that's another statement. You'll get to know that later on. So you can now say order by, let's say first name. We want to see. Maybe you want to distribute them and you say order by first name. When you run this, can you see now? You can see that it's ordered now. You can see that this patient ID is no longer 1, 2, 3, 4 because this your statement is the one that is controlling everything. So the priority is to now order it by this column, right? Now that's not all. You can also say, yeah, but I also want to order by multiple. Don't forget, I said you can order by multiple columns. So you can say, so if Abi is the first, you can see these guys now. Abi, about 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you look at it, this particular one is not ordered. If I remember ABCD, if I remember how we used now, H supposed to come before L. O supposed to come after this. But because I didn't pick this column to order, so I can order my multiple columns. That's what I'm saying. I will now also say order by last name, right? So when I run this now, you will see. Can you see that it has changed it for me? You know, my H, my K has now come first. That is KLM. So there are reasons why this is done. Maybe you want to distribute people, you want to do different things. You can be able to use that to adjust, you know. So that is why this is important, you know. So don't forget, we have learned some keywords today. We have learned select, we have learned from, we have learned the where condition, we have learned how to use operators, and we have learned how to order. Now, I also said you can decide to say, you now want to change it again. I say you want this one to be in the descending order. Then you had this. By the time we run this, our O will now come up. So when you run this now, can you see now? It has ordered by this. Or you can say, no, I even want to order everything, even the first one. I want it to be in the descending order. Don't forget there will be a space. I want this one to be in the descending order, and I'm going to put my comma. Then I'm going to run this again, and this is going to order it for me. Can you see? Our Z has come from where it is now Zoe number 1. So this there's a way you can play around this and be able to get these records out, because there may be situations where you have to order, either you want to distribute people by their alphabet, or you want to do different things. You can also use the same order by date of birth. You want to know the youngest person. You know, the youngest person. Somebody said, oh, give me the record of the youngest person. Yeah, that's what they're saying. Order it. Birth, what am I telling? So birth date, you now say descending. This one will give us is it the youngest or the oldest? Should be the youngest. You can see the youngest is 18, right? So that's how to get your information. You can use your order by to get the information. Okay, so before I go, for people that want to practice after this class, you may say, I don't even know what to practice. Yeah, this platform has also afforded you that opportunity. So there are questions. So you can use this to practice. There are a lot of them, you know. You can practice based on some of the things I have taught you today. But let's just do one so you see how it works. Maybe I've not gone to that far, but let's see this one. It says show. I've not taught you this, but you can read. Okay, let me see. Show first name and the full name, province's name of each patient. You still have a lot to learn. So there are a lot of reasons why you have to come back to the class. Actually, some of these, there are things I can write, but there are things I've not taught you. But let me see whether there is one that we can show the first name, last name, and height of the patient with the greatest height. Yes, we can do this one before we go. Let's see whether we can do this one. So that is the one we want to do. So this is in show. Let's see whether we can do it. It says show the first name, select. Let's just see whether we can do this. Select first underscore name, comma last. I actually picked this because it's similar to what we have done today. Last name and height, comma height, from patients. With the greatest height. Oh, sorry. Show the first name. Okay. Show the first name, last name, and height of patient with the greatest height. So the one that has the greatest height. So that's what they said. We should show the first name and the last name. So we have to show. I don't think I've taught you this. We are not there. We are not there yet. 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 So don't let us deal with this. We are not there yet. So I won't confuse you. I won't confuse you. So don't let me confuse you. So now we are not here yet at that part because there are still other to learn, right? But the good thing is that there are resources here that you can also lay your hands on that can do that. So you can also come here and see some query statements, some insert statements, some deletes. Now you can pick on them. You can see what you can do. I don't want to go that far so that you won't be able to. But again, I can show you how some of this in work, like this is int, right? So this one can, are you sure you want to skip? So this, you can see, this is going to give you, this is what will give you the answer that you're looking for. I mentioned to you that there is, now, it's talking about the marks. This is what I was trying to type, but I just read, I've not told you before. There's a function that is going to show you the maximum height, right? So by the time you run it, it's going to show you, you can see the maximum height here is actually 226, but it's giving you other information about it. So this int can also help you, but when you are practicing, it's better for you to practice your knowledge. Don't always go and look for the solution every time before you do that. You can. So this platform is good for you to practice as much as possible before you come to the next class that you are going to be told eventually, right? So I think for me, I'm going to stop here today. I don't want to go further than that, but I don't know whether you have questions that you're going to ask me, clarifications. Then we can end the class so that you won't be too tired, so that it won't be information overload. Right? So you can unmute yourself, you can ask your questions if you want to. Okay, Abigail, you can ask your question.
Yeah, for the example you wanted to take, I was just wondering if we ordered the height in the descending order, we could get the height. Okay,
so now the challenge is if you order it, you are going to get it, but you get, so you're not getting only one. See the question. Let me go back.
Okay.
The problem is that if you let me write that, if you write that, you are going to get other information. So you need single row.
Okay.
Do you understand? So you need a single row. Let's do that. You need a single row. When you say first name, comma, last name, comma, height. So there's other way you can, I understand what you are saying, but there's other from patient. And you now say, that's why I stopped, because I know I've not ordered by, I don't want to be like those our old teacher that they will teach you something that is simple in class. They will now go and say test with something that is tough. Height descending. So it's going to give you more records. That's where the challenge will be. This one is going to give you more records. You can see it's giving you all the records. However, the same sum is the number one. So that means you are getting so much information than expected.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not that it's not going to give you, but this one is going to give you a single record. That's what the difference is.
Okay.
You can also use this. You can say we want this someone with the minimum height. If you do it by ascending order, it's going to give you the same thing. So this one will give you the person with the
just one person.
25, just one. But if you come here,
that makes sense.
If you come here and you say ascending, it's going to give you that same person, Stephen, but the Stephen is not going. You can see, but it's giving you all the records. But they want you to get just one record, or that's just the difference.
Okay, thank you.
Hope that's clear. All right. So,
yeah, very clear. Cheers.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know whether anybody have other questions. If you leave it to me, I can continue. But I don't just want us to. Yeah, Yinka, you can go ahead. Yinka.
Hi. Sorry, I was just doing a thumbs up for what you did. I don't have a question.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. I don't know if there is any other person that have questions. Yeah. But in reality, we can open our mic. Hope you have been able to pick something from the class today. I think it's important for me to get that feedback so that when we have another one, we can, I just want to know whether you have been able to pick one or two things from this class, and then whether you are willing to proceed with this class as we go, as we learn together. And also, I think Esther can let us know if this video will be available. You can go back and watch this video on their YouTube platform so that you can practice. It's about practicing actually to master the skills. And these are skills that when you have it, you can add it to your CV. And then there are people. I remember one of my first, HR in those days. They posted me to a particular unit in one of my where I worked. HR didn't know the difference, but because they saw that I put SQL skill, they put me to a unit called enhancement reporting. Just because they saw that I have SQL skill. Anyway, so that's an example. That's an example. So by you just adding that skill, don't just add skills because you of adding skills because they can test you. They can test you. So, but you by practicing, it gives you that confidence. Somebody can just say, "Oh yeah, let's give you a database. Just run some queries for us, and you can be able to play around it." Okay, that's fine. Any other question? I think from my hand to you, should we end the class now? I know we have other things to do. Let me just ask that question. Or you want us to move? I no, even want us to. It's better that we go and practice.
In our next class, if you end it now, that's the question.
What do you say?
When is our next class? If you end it now.
But we can't finish it today. Yeah, I understand.
He's asking when will the next class be if we end it today. So our next class will have to schedule a time with our facilitator because we are bringing him in and we have to schedule with his own time before we can decide to fix another class for it.
Okay, that's fine. Now, depends. Okay. I just want to say something.
Sorry, I like using my emojis a lot. So I was doing thumbs up to what Esther said.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I don't know when our last class can be. Esther can decide, or if you want, either you will reach out to these people back, and maybe have a way to reach out to them on when the next class can be. Within 2 hours or so, or 1 hour plus, we can move again. And by that time, I hope you will have practiced and you are coming with questions to ask on the class in the class, so that you can. That's the essence of it. The difference between this class and you just watching a video is that you can have a recourse and ask questions and clarify. And somebody will say, "Oh, this is why this is done." Something like that. We can learn together. So either you are going to be Esther is going to reach out to you. This is December already. We're in festive mode. I don't know whether people will be thinking of chicken or rice, or they are ready to also acquire knowledge. These are the things that are very important that we need to balance together. And there'll be a lot of parties. People will have to attend to those too. Okay, so that's all from me. So Esther, over to you. You can have that conversation when we can have the next class so that we can take it up from here. Thank you. Then when we're waiting for Esther, I didn't get the feedback. Hope we enjoyed the class. You can unmute yourself. Hope we enjoyed the class. Hope we're able to learn one or two things. Can I have the feedback, please? Maybe from one or two people.
It was an awesome class. I've been trying to do self-study on SQL, watching things on YouTube, even registered for some courses on Coursera. But it didn't make sense. It was like, but coming here, there was just this straight light that illuminated everything. And the practice that I used to do that wasn't so it was just like piece of cake. So it was an awesome class, good delivery, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Looking forward to the next one.
Thank you for the feedback. We appreciate that. Okay. Oh, thank you, Adewale Adekambi. We'll continue We'll continue another class, another day, I think, Abby. Yes, I think another day will be another class. Another class. Yes, another class. Okay, Esther, if you can hear me, over to you.
Yes, I can hear you. I'm with you.
Okay, so over to you. I think people want next class, but you are the program coordinator. I'm just a facilitator that will be available when you want me to be available. When I check my calendar, don't say, I said that will be available, but I also put it
That's what
when
I'm
I also
saying.
check my calendar. But I can adjust. See, I can adjust. See, the good thing is about if people are willing to learn, I can adjust. If we just need to adjust the timing, just give people a leeway or heads up and say, okay, this is when it's going to be. Maybe just so people can also adjust and be part of it. And the good thing is that the class is recorded. It's recorded. So we'll try and see if you can always upload them on the platform so that people can watch it.
All our videos are always on the YouTube, so we can share the link over YouTube with everyone.
Okay, that's fine.
So are you saying it's not a recurring weekend classes?
I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Are you saying it's not a recurring weekend classes? It can be weekdays, can be weekends. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's going to be weekends. No,
it's not weekend.
Oh, okay.
So now it's with this SQL course is actually included in some of the EdTech school we initiated. So for you now, how many sessions do we need to complete this SQL class? So do we need 2 more sessions, 3 more sessions, or just 1 more session to be able to get everything? So now to break the class.
Okay, let's have 4 more sessions. Let's have 4 more sessions. I want people to really learn. Let's have 4 more sessions. If you have 4 more sessions, I think people will be able to get enough that can give them that confidence. If they practice on their own, I will add that.
Okay, 4 more sessions. Do we all agree with our facilitator? So 4 more sessions, we have to break it to 4 weekends now.
Yes.
Okay. If we take 1 weekend next week, how about that for everyone and our facilitator? Then the 2 sessions can now come up the following year. Because after next week, I guess everyone has a lot to do. So
everyone has.
Will be available for us next week?
Sure, I'll be available next week. Next Saturday. Yes, I will.
Okay. Next week Saturday. Okay. So we'll have to take another session next week Saturday, providing everyone will be willing to continue and to join the session again. Please, maybe we should do a vote on the chat for everyone who wants us to take another session next week. Let's see your vote on the chat. Yes, no. So we don't keep our facilitator waiting.
We have seen only 1 yes.
So to know those will be available for the class, so rather we just shift all class to next day. Okay, we have another yes.
And there's somebody that has also been disturbing you that you want them to be part. You can also invite them, because I know maybe some people feel like, I don't want to come to that training. I've been reading, but you have come. If you want to share the good news with other people to also be part of it, so they can learn what you have learned, you can also invite them, to join. Okay, so we saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not even up to half. So that means I'm expecting like 5 people in the next class. So that means more than half of people in this class will not join the next class.
Sorry, we thought Esther was going to do a poll using the Teams. That was what I was waiting for.
Oh, okay.
I thought I was going to do a poll. Okay.
If I'm able,
let's put our hands up.
If we are able to see 10, then we would have the class next
just
week.
Like
if you don't have 10, I'm not sure I will be available. So Esther, maybe when we have 10, the time we have 10, you can let me.
Has spoken already.
See, sorry, some people are just raising up their hand, indicating yes. They need to type, or you need to count them along. I can see lots of hands being raised.
We have already. We have people raising their hand.
So we have 10 already. So I don't have an excuse.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying hands raised. So we are counting those who are raising hands. Just the ones to class. Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But please, what can help us next week? What can help us next week is us going back to this platform. See, one of my concerns when I want to train people is that how can I get people to be able to practice? You understand? You know, those days you have to think of people bringing their laptop to install for them, but these days you don't have that again. You have just type it on your phone. You can, on your phone, you run your query, you are fine. Do you understand? So you don't have excuse again. The only excuse you have is you. You understand? So you have the platform where you can learn. You can come and ask questions. I may not have answer to all, but we can also dig it together and resolve it together, and then we learn. You know. So this is also, you know, to checkmate ourselves and see what we can learn together. Okay, thank you very much. So we are meeting next week again. The meeting link will be shared as usual, right? So that we can join this meeting. Thank you. Over to you, Esther. Let me hide my face. Yeah, thank you.
All right, very much. This has really been an amazing session, and I'm sure people really followed through out the session. And since they followed, so they are willing to learn more and to hear more from you. So as you have said, since you said the session will continue next week, they will do another section next week. The next section because the other weekend have program lined up for that weekend also. But we have next week, which is actually uploaded on our recorded section. So it's uploaded on our YouTube channel, and the link to join to watch on the YouTube will be shared on the platform. For those who are not on the Wogepeef platform, that you registered with your email, don't panic. It will be sent to your email directly. Everyone who registered will actually even get to their email. Then for others who are on the platform, it's a plus for you. You can get the recorded session of the platform. Also, the link to the YouTube will be shared with you. So we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also like of videos. You find after marketing, website design, power apps, power automate. You find a lot of videos on our YouTube channel. And it's a plus for you to watch as many as you want, but we'll encourage you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. So thank you very much for at least give us a time like what SQL. At least really looking. I'm sure what like it's not something that this SQL is hey, we will carry it on our head and every other thing. But it shows we love you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Hope you can hear me, please.
Your network is
All
not too
right,
good today.
all
But
right.
next time
So
we'll hear you better.
thank you everyone for taking time. Yes, my line is a bit breaking. I don't even know what's wrong with my network. I don't know. Well, please just so thank you very much, everyone, for the time. Thank you for taking time to participate in today's session. Really appreciate you. And we hope to see you next for another session. So thank you very much and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.